wish this red thing appreciated me like you do. I hate this red thing. I spit on you.
Alan?
Rayman Legends came out 11 years ago. We haven't had a Rayman game since 2013. That Legends was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive. Isn't that fucked up? Rayman, once a gaming icon up there with the big boys, your Marios, your Spyros, your Crash Bandicoots, a character with his own cartoon show, has been reduced to showing up in DLC for a spin-off to his own series. But this is a tale as old as time, right? Spyro the Dragon had a reignited trilogy, sure, but that was 6 years ago, and before that was Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, which came out 8 years before that. Video games are not easy to make, that's just a fact of life, and that means that not every franchise can thrive and prosper. But there's a genre that seems to suffer this fate more than any other, the mascot platformer. Spinning out of the Mario-Sonic rivalry came characters like the aforementioned Crash, Spyro, Rayman, but also Croc, Sly Cooper, Gex. These mascots ruled the gaming industry for most of the medium's adolescence, but as the years ran on, a new challenger entered the fray: corporate greed. In the wake of the mid to late 2000s, the mascot platformer had to compete with other genres. First-person shooters like Halo and later Call of Duty would go on to both directly and indirectly kneecap the mascot platformer. But how did they do that, and who the fuck is Gwimbly? All that and more will be answered now. The root cause of all these platformers losing their spot in the sun comes down to lack of sales. Rayman Legends sold 1 million copies in its first year on the market, which sounds good on paper, but in reality was way below developer Ubisoft's expectations. Meanwhile, Ubisoft owns Assassin's Creed, a series that in the same year managed to sell 11 million copies. So, Ubisoft made the easy choice of continuing to make Assassin's Creed games, leaving Rayman in the dust. And with that, we enter the Dark Ages. If your name isn't Mario, Sonic, or Crash, you're not getting anything more than lip service. Actually, scratch that, not even Crash is getting away with anything. In 2020, Activision subsidiary Toys for Bob released Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Right after, Toys for Bob founders Paul Ricci III and Fred Ford left the company, and what remained of Toys for Bob began working on Call of Duty games. This was until the studio decided to go indie, announcing in early 2024 that they'd be leaving Activision. Hooray for indie developers! This is another case of corporate greed getting in the way of these franchises. Sure, let's make the Crash Bandicoot guys work on Call of Duty. Yikes. Crash is still fortunately getting games made, but the loss of Toys for Bob, who carried the series' torch since Insane Trilogy, will be felt. So, the Dark Ages. Rayman, Spyro, and Gex haven't gotten games for years, and hundreds of thousands of passionate fans cry out for something, anything from any of these franchises. So, we get Rayman in Captain Laserhawk. That's my comfort character doing coke eating sushi off a nude cow. But for real, Captain Laserhawk treats Rayman with more respect than the Armless Wonder's gotten in years. Check out the Wacky Delis video on Rayman and Laserhawk. It's a banger and articulates perfectly what works so well about Rayman's character in the show. But what I want to highlight is Rayman's metatextual usage. In Captain Laserhawk, Rayman is established as a newscaster from another dimension, where he uses his platform to peddle a false image of unity between humans and non-humans. This facade slips, however, when Rayman is called interdimensional alien scum by this asshole and swears the guy out on live TV. This causes him to be fired and replaced by another Rayman, a clone. He enters a depressive episode until he learns the truth. He was being used by his company, Eden, to spread lies and misinformation. So he changes his name to Ramon, slicks back his hair, and shoots up the board of directors. This use of Ramon as a washed-up TV star directly correlates to his status at Ubisoft. And this deconstruction speaks to him still wanting a place in society. Forging this new identity, straying away from his company, is similar to what Toys for Bob did, minus the massacre. This also speaks to the desire for these characters to return to the spotlight. Sure, Ramon became a completely different guy by the end, but he was back, and that's all anyone ever wanted for him. That finally brings us to the second part of the title, Gwimbly.
Well, I don't do my iconic victory dance for nothing. Okay, I guess just this once I can do it for nothing. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, I guess I can do one more for nothing. Ooh, ooh.
April Fool's Day 2024 saw the return of Smiling Friends, with the aptly titled Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition Deluxe 4K Anniversary Director's Cut. where, tell me if this sounds familiar, a down-on-his-luck, washed-up star goes to his corporate overlord and threatens him with a gun. Eh? You see it? You don't.
Oh, I swear to God, if I had my Gwimbly gun on me right now!
Gwimbly speaks to the part of all of us that want nothing more than these iconic platformers to enter the fray once more. Gwimbly represents all these characters stood for. His design reeks of the 90s, the era these characters originated from, and his story echoes that of oh so many of them. But the difference is that Gwimbly's story is a success story. At first, Gwimbly's pitch to return was turned down by his company's nugget-chugging CEO, voiced masterfully by Lyle Rath, and he's left to try and pick up the pieces himself. But the CEO can't have his mascot doing nothing. It's his IP to sit on and do nothing with. After being hunted and almost killed by his company's new mascot, Troglor, Gwimbly returns to the Smiling Friends headquarters in a panic. It's here that the CEO is stabbed to death, and Gwimbly and Troglor decide that without the CEO, they can be in their own game, and Gwimbly smiles and has purpose once more. And I think that's all we want for these characters, for their stories to go on, for them to be relevant forever. But so long as they're in the hands of companies like Ubisoft and Activision, these things will not happen. So to see Ramon and Gwimbly get what they want after all these years is cathartic, which brings us to the third part of the title.
It's you, Charlie.
Who, me?
Yeah, sure.
Woohoo!
Spread the gospel of your favorite underrated mascot platformer. Make it so they cannot be ignored. Don't kill the board of directors, though. That probably would not help your cause. But yeah, we have the power to choose with our wallets.
We are who we choose to be. Now choose!
And use that power wisely. Hey, thanks for watching. Sorry about the mic quality. I'm now recording off of my phone thanks to my college's recording booth no longer being available to me. Hope that doesn't affect your enjoyment or anything. Alright. See ya!